Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Vann, Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and I'm checking out a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee in the Overland trim level. So this is the top dog four-wheel drive SUV that has a ton of features to show off. So let's go ahead and check it out. This Overland is sitting on 265/50 Bridgestone tires, wrapped around 20-inch alloy wheels with a two-tone gloss and then matte surfaces there. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated disc rotors in the front and solid disc rotors in the back. The name of this color is Ivory Tri-Coat, and it's not just a normal white color. Hopefully you'll be able to see in this video, it is, especially when the sun shines on it, you can see the pearl and the just overall different look compared to a normal white color. I think it looks fantastic. This is one of the things that really stood out to me when I was looking at this vehicle, was the color, because from a distance, just kind of looking at it in the shade or whatever, I just thought it was a normal white. But once you get close, you start to look at it, it really is stunning. Okay, so speaking of stunning, check out this grille. Yeah, the chrome grille with the little facets here that allows for the sun to sparkle off. Really looking nice. You also have chrome tow hooks here at the bottom. Little chrome accent. And in between that chrome is gloss black and a little bit of flat black there. You even have some chrome bezels around the LED fog lights here. And the headlights here are surrounded by an LED daytime running light with a gunmetal bezel in there. And check it out, it has a little Jeep and then on this side anyway. And then the headlights are powered by HIDs, by Xenon HIDs for your low and your high beams out of the same projector tube. Here on the right side, it doesn't have the little Jeep on the bezel. It says since 1941, which is about the time that Jeep entered the scene in the universe. So this is what the key looks like. It's a proximity key system designed where you can just keep it in your pocket and use the vehicle 100%. It does have some useful buttons though, lock, unlock, the ability to open up the power liftgate, and a remote start and a panic button. So let's go ahead and push the panic button and see what happens. It's pretty loud. It has a really strong horn. So basically it just beeps the horn, flashes the lights. So now let's go ahead and remote start it by double tapping the remote start button. It beeps twice if you have that setting set, but you can disable that if you want. So it starts up. And of course, you can always turn it off by pushing this. Now it'll actually run for, I think, 10 or 15 minutes. It'll turn off. You can remote start it again up 2 more times, but after that, it will disable the feature until you're actually in the vehicle pushing the button. To turn off the vehicle at any time during this time period, you just push the button one time and it turns it off. So let's look at the profile of the vehicle. Now you notice, or you may notice, that it's a little bit high off the ground right now. I have it on the off-road 2 mode. It has the air suspension, which lifts the vehicle up. You can set the height of the vehicle depending on your needs, but I have it on the off-road 2 position, which is the highest position. So it is a little bit of a stance off the ground right now. So it has a privacy glass here on all the back windows. It also has the chrome around the outside right there and the chrome handles. And chrome on the side mirror. A little bit of chrome there on the top, on the roof rails. So walking up to the vehicle, as long as you have the key with you, it can be in your pocket or in a bag or whatever. To lock the doors, you just push this button. To unlock it, you just simply put your hand behind the handle. It senses the key within a close proximity of this door, and it senses your hand position and allows you access to the vehicle. All right, so here's the inside of the passenger door, all soft to the touch. here, all the way up to here, all around your arm. You also have a wood grain trim right in here, which is actually real laminated wood. You can actually feel a little bit of the pores. It's like an open pore wood. Then it has the accent with the chrome right below it. Little storage pocket right in here, put some stuff, coins or whatever. The handle is enclosed to where you can put some stuff in there if you need to, prop your phone up or whatever. Then it has a bottle holder and a storage compartment here in the lower part of the door. You also have some stitching right in here in a French design. Here's your threshold with a Jeep sill plate and the aluminum power seat and four-way power lumbar adjustments here for your passenger. Then it has these really nice tan seats. Jeep does a great job on the Grand Cherokees anyway with the seats, very comfortable. And then you have the piping here on the side, heated and cooled with the little perforations there, Napa leather seats. You even have the Overland name embroidered in the back of the seat. Okay, so here's the floorboard in front of the passenger seat, and you see the floor mat hooks in place. It snaps in place. You have these big buttons right here, so it's real easy to kind of snap it in place and pull it out when you need to clean it. And then, you know, look how there's not much tapering going on for your legs, so there's plenty of leg room. And the seat's not even all the way back. I mean, there's plenty of leg room up here. You have some more of that wood grain, the open pore wood grain, and then a soft to the touch dash with the stitching and everything up there. Really nice. Lockable glove compartment that's felt lined. And then you have a little shelf there at the very top, and then all felt lined compartment. Pretty good size as far as glove compartments go. And check out that dual pane sunroof. Looks fantastic. We'll check that out a little bit more in a minute. Okay, looking at the back. Now I like this privacy glass. It keeps people from looking in. It helps with the glare of the sun too. So when you're looking out, you can see really good. So it doesn't really impede your view outside of the vehicle. Okay, so here's the inside of the back door. All soft to the touch as well, and back here. Soft here, as well as all up in here. Same wood grain, chrome styling, French stitching, and a bottle holder, a little storage pocket there. Threshold with Napa leather seats back here. Now, these seats are a 60-40 split, so you can have a, you can actually recline the seats back here, or you can fold them down, adding to your cargo space. And it has a little armrest with cup holders, which you can move out of the way, allowing room for a center passenger. Basically, it's a big bench seat, but it does fold down in a 60-40 split fashion. Has the latch system for car seats or ISOFIX. Net pockets in the back of the front seats. And the back of the front seats have a hard, durable plastic back here with bag holders as well as the net pockets. And you notice they're kind of contoured a little bit, allowing a little bit more room back here for the rear passengers. So here's your leg room. A little bit of a hump here in the center, but not too bad, allowing, you know, room for the drivetrain. And then you have heated seats back here. There's your heated seat controls. You have 2 USB ports and a 115 volt power supply, Edison plug, or Edison outlet, I should say. Okay, so looking at the rear of the vehicle, here at the top you have a little shark fin antenna with the roof rails. Third brake light right under a little spoiler here. It does have a rear wiper and washer system. So you have a combination of LED and standard bulbs for your tail lights. Backup camera is in the very center position, which is absolutely perfect for a backup camera. Then you have parking sensors, these little circles here across the back. Those are your parking sensors. dual exhaust tips. And it has a towing package with the 4- and 7-way outlets here. So opening up the power liftgate, there's a little button under there you can push, but in my case, I'm gonna go ahead and use the key. So right here on the key, it has a little button right here. You just double tap that, and it raises up the power liftgate. Underneath the power liftgate is 2 sources of light under here, which is nice. And this one has the shade. Let me go ahead and retract that. And this shade is removable too, so you can take that out if you need some more cargo space. Has a little storage bin right in here. Bag holders, place to put a net pocket. Across back here, you also have tie downs on all 4 corners. Subwoofer, which is real nice. The sound system in this is fantastic. 12-volt power supply that has a little key on it, letting you know that it turns on and off with the ignition. And then this lifts up like so. And there's actually this little hook right here. So let's go ahead and take that hook out and hook it up here like so. So it holds it up for us. Isn't that nice? And under here is the spare tire and tools. And there's a little funnel there for your fuel door, which I'll show you that in a minute. But check it out. You have these little bins that you can take out and use them for storage. You can take them out, clean them, put them back in. You also have just a little bit of space around the tire for extra stuff. But you notice this is a full-size spare tire. So that way, you know, it's the same diameter as your regular tire. So if you change your tires, you're not riding on a donut. It's actually a real tire. To lower the power liftgate, you can of course use the key, or you can just simply push this button. Kind of beeps at you a few times and comes on down kind of slowly. Now if something were to get in the way, like my hand, it will stop and go back up. So it's not going to crush a shopping cart or anything, but it will you know, be an issue for small children's hands or something like that. So you still want to watch them, but in general it's a pretty safe system. The fuel door is a locking fuel door, and it's on the driver's side. And it's a capless design, so you don't even need to take a cap off, and you just put the nozzle in there and pump the gas. Now if you ever need to use a gas can, you will need to use that little funnel I mentioned earlier to access the fuel tank, because it is a 2-stage door system to allow things from getting in the gas tank. But it does have a rubber seal around the outside here as well. So let's go ahead and start it up. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle, like I said, it could be in your pocket, a bag, whatever. All you have to do is put your foot on the brake and hold it and push this button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice that the floor mat hooks in place in 2 places, just like the other side. There's your accelerator and brake pedal, foot actuated parking brake, and behind that is a footrest. So let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a little latch a little bit to the right of center, right in here, and you move it to the left and lift the hood up, and it takes almost no effort, and it goes up the rest of the way by itself. There's a little latch right in there. Just reach in and move it to the left. It's that simple. Okay, so let's look at the engine compartment. And you'll notice the whole back of the firewall is completely insulated. It also has some heat shielding there at the very bottom around the exhaust. Here's the top of the strut towers here. You notice a little tubing right here for the air suspension, which is pretty neat. So this one has the V6. There's a little bit of space here in front of the engine for the allowance of the V8 to go in when someone chooses to get a V8. It is covered up mostly with plastic. You can see a little bit here in the front, but it's a V6, 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. So if you might want to take this for a test drive, because if you haven't driven one of these, the V6s are absolutely fantastic. You may not even need a V8. So you definitely want to just test drive a V6 if you're not familiar with them before you choose a V8 by default, because they are absolutely amazing, especially paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. So this is the same similar transmission and same engine that you'd find like in the Challenger and stuff, the V6 Challenger and Chargers. The inside of the driver's door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So down here you have presets for your power seat, door locks, power windows. Now the front two are automatic ones, up and down, one touch. So we have down, we have up. Now I'm going to go down a little bit just to show you that this is a dual pane glass with an acoustic material on the inside, so it's a laminated glass. So it tries to stop some of the outside sound from vibrating its way into the vehicle. So that's pretty neat. Now the side mirrors are heated, and you'll notice here on the side mirror it has this little triangle. That is your blind spot monitor system and your rear cross traffic alert system. So that will illuminate the triangle when there's a vehicle in your blind spot or coming from either direction when you're backing out of a parking space. I kind of like the triangle a little bit better than some of the other vehicles that have a little car on there with a crash symbol on it. It kind of looks like you're going to get in an accident or whatever. So this one has a nice little triangle. And the side mirrors are power folding, so we can push this button and you can fold them in like so. Both of them will fold in and out with a touch of a button. And then you have your adjustments here. Just pick a side and you adjust it with that little pad. Power seat with 4-way power lumbar adjustment, just like the passenger side. Maybe you can see the seat a little bit better on this side because of the glare of the sun, but I really like that Overland embroidery in the back of the seat. Here to the left of the steering column, you have your headlight controls. You have automatic, off, parking light, and then your headlight. Push right here for your fog lights. And then here's your interior gauge dimmer switch and your fuel door release. It also has a steering column that's tilt and telescoping, and it's powered. So it's this little joystick right here. So it can slowly and confidently move the steering column even while you're driving. Okay, let's take a look here on the inside. Looking nice. Grand Cherokee has always had a very distinct and comfortable, stylish look to me. I really like it. So let's look at the legroom. So I have the seat further back than where I would actually drive. 6 feet tall, so having the seat all the way back allows me for just maximum legroom, but really impractical for me to drive this way. So it has a lot of legroom and knee room up here when needed. So looking at the steering wheel, it has a leather wrap steering wheel with the stitching there on the inside, contrasting stitching. Very comfortable and soft to the touch steering column, all the way up until you get to the wood, and then of course it's not soft anymore, but it's a real wood, and it's grippy too. It looks shiny, but it's not slippery at all. It's a very comfortable heated steering wheel, and if you've ever experienced a heated steering wheel on a cold day, you'll really be glad you got one. So here on the right side is your cruise control. So you can just turn it on, set it. It's really easy. You can set it with your plus or negative, and then resume and cancel there. And then on the back of the steering column, right back in here, there's a toggle switch, up and down toggle switch here, and then a center button. This one on the right side, it's designed to where your hands just kind of line right up with it perfectly. So as your thumb's right here, you're driving, your 2 fingers are able to control it. It's your volume for your radio, so I can adjust the volume. and then the center button cycles through the different audio sources. On the left side, on the back, your up and down changes through your radio station or your media track. So like say if you're playing on a Bluetooth device or something like that, you can cycle through the track that way. The center button back here will cycle through your presets on your radio. So here on the front is your Bluetooth controls. You can answer calls, hang up. You have a very extensive voice recognition system in this vehicle. You can go to addresses, you can make calls, you can adjust the climate, you can do all kinds of things just using your voice. So it's worth playing around and getting used to using the voice recognition you know, when you need it. I mean, it's really handy, and it's a way of keeping your hands on the wheel and eyes on the road while you're staying productive, you know, sending and receiving phone calls and changing things on the screen without actually, you know, losing your concentration. These buttons right here correspond with this big screen between the gauges, which we'll get to in just a minute. Your turn signal also has your windshield wiper controls on it, front and rear. Okay, so there's your gauges. So you have physical gauges here on the left side for your RPMs, and then here on the right side you have your engine coolant temperature, and your fuel gauge has physical gauges. But right here in the center is this big screen. So the screen allows for different screens, obviously, to appear here. So it just gives you compounds how much you can actually have in this space. So right now we're showing the digital compass. This is customizable, by the way. The vehicle's facing southwest. You have an outside temperature of 77 degrees. Then you have your odometer there at the bottom, and then it has a speedometer that replicates a physical speedometer. But we can change the way that looks. We can scroll to the right, and using these buttons down here, and have a big digital speedometer. Isn't that nice? We can always scroll again and go back to this one, whatever we're comfortable with. Now you notice these little icons here on the left side, right in here. This is part of a whole menu system. So if I scroll down, it moves the digital speedometer to the top, and then we have some more information here. So right now, so we go up here to vehicle info, we scroll and we can get more information: tire pressure, engine temperature, transmission temperature, pressure, everything, voltage, all like that. Scrolling down again goes into our fuel economy, and we can get the fuel economy information right there, and we can get real-time current and range, and we can reset this whenever we want to find out what we're getting. And then you also have a trip, which also gives you your distance traveled, average miles per gallon during that distance, and your time. And then you can have two of them, A and B. This is your start-stop, electric start-stop feature, and right now there's certain parameters that have to be met before it to operate. But this is a feature you can turn off whenever you want to. It is a way of lowering the fuel economy in new vehicles. On the paper, it's actually going to stop the vehicle while you're stopped at a stoplight or a stop sign for extended period of time, and then restart the vehicle as soon as you lift your foot off the brake and touch the accelerator. Bluetooth information. This is what your radio is doing right here. And stored messages will show up here, like when it's time to change the oil, it'll let you know, and it'll store the messages here. And you can go into your screen setup and you can adjust your things on your corners, whatever you want there. Then it goes back to your digital speedometer, whichever style you like. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the screen between the gauges, using these buttons right here to kind of get the information that you want. You don't actually have to go in there and do anything. It's just there in case you need that information, so you don't be overwhelmed with all that information. You don't really have to go in there all the time. Okay, so let's take a look at this touchscreen. So this is a fantastic looking touchscreen. They cleaned it up a little bit as far as the clarity. It's kind of like a high contrast icon system to where you can see it easier while you're driving. This really helps out when you're driving on the road and you're looking at the road. Refocusing your eyes onto something close isn't always that easy, especially you know, in bright sunlight or whatever. So this makes it a little bit easier, I think, this year to see these icons and just kind of see the relevant things that you need to see. Okay, so let's go here to the first one, which is your radio. We're in you know, satellite radio. It has AM, FM satellite radio. Your presets are here at the very top. Then you have all the information here in the center. And you can browse different genres and all that stuff. You can also adjust the audio. Since this one has the subwoofer and all that stuff, we can adjust it, you know, by going like that. Or we can do like this. At any time we can just hit the C and goes back to the center. Then we have an equalizer for your bass and treble and all that. And then you can adjust your surround sound and all that stuff when it's appropriate. Go to your media. You have Bluetooth, auxiliary input, USB 1, USB 2 as inputs for your sound system, which is nice. Then next is your climate. So you have a dual zone, driver and passenger. You can, you know, make your selections here, front and rear defroster, where you want the air to blow, and all that. Also your fan speed can be controlled right here on the screen. Here's a quick link right here that goes into your heated seat, ventilated seat, heated steering wheel. You also have the ability to go to your backup camera anytime you want, which is pretty cool. And the next icon is your apps. So there's lots of different apps. Travel Link, which is fantastic. If you're not familiar with that, you can get fuel prices, you can get movie listings. But I really like the fuel prices. If you're out of town or you're somewhere you're not familiar with, you can find the nearest fuel station. You can find, you know, if you want to get really cheap, you can find the cheapest one, or you can still go find a specific brand that you like. And also you can sort by fuel type, regular, mid-range, or premium, or even diesel if you're looking for a diesel. If you have a diesel Grand Cherokee, especially, you're going to need that. That's a really handy feature. And then you can get your weather while you're out, 3 to 6 hour. We can get a 5-day. All right. But your driver's seat, all these different icons. You also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capabilities. You just have to plug in the phone to the USB port and it will handle that. Let's go to the next screen right here. Heated wheel. All these different features here. Audio settings. Off-road pages. This is fantastic. So since this is a four-wheel drive vehicle, it has different drive modes. It has the ability to sense the articulation of the vehicle and everything. Isn't that cool? It's a Jeep thing. Okay, so right now it's showing the vehicle dynamics. Okay, so your steering angle. So as I turn the steering wheel, it's going to show the percentage of the steering angle. It's going to show the transfer case and where the power is actually being delivered. So if it's in automatic mode, you can see whether it's powering, you know, if it's actually transferring any power to the front wheels. Then you go to your suspension. So right now we're in off-road 2. So we can go down, push the down button. I'll show you where that is in a minute. And it's actually going to show you what it's doing as far as lower. It actually lowers the front, then the back, then the front, then back. And it kind of slowly goes down, and it kind of shows you where you're at, which is pretty neat. All right, pitch and roll. Let's go to that. So this is showing you we're on a completely level ground right now, but so your roll would be your left and right as far as that, and then your pitch is like uphill or downhill, and you can see what the percentage is there. And then you have these accessory gauges. So you can have we all saw that on the gauge cluster. We can go in there, but we can have a quick glance right here on the screen and have all that information right here if we want it. And then the select terrain, basically it's letting you know what we're in. So right now we're in automatic. So if we were to put it in snow, let's go ahead and put it in mud or rock. Rock is going to change the suspension before it actually engages, so it takes a second. So let's go to sand. I'm going to show you what the control I'm using right now, and then you have snow. So this is just kind of visual representation of what you have selected. So there's your off-road pages there, quick rundown of that. And I actually put the icon right here, so you can actually change the icon. So let's say we want to put Travel Link down there. We can push and hold that, and slide it down here and replace the off-road pages with the travel link right here. So the next icon would be your navigation. Let's check that out. We can select an address to go to, or we can just check out the map, see what it looks like. And you notice how easy it is to read the streets. Even when you zoom in and out, it's going to auto adjust everything to where you can see it. Now, it's not going to give you every single street when you zoom out. It's going to give you the more relevant streets as you zoom out. Let's go ahead and zoom out a lot. So there you go. You can really zoom out if you want to. So we're in North Carolina. This is actually South Carolina. This map's kind of inverted. You could change it to where it's, you know, north up if you want to, but right now it's the direction the vehicle is facing is how it's set up right now. All right, so the last but not least is your phone icon. And then once you pair a phone, you'll have access to your recent calls, your phone book. You have a little keypad, and you can actually pair up to 6 phones, I think, and it'll have a priority system, so you can set one over a priority of the other. So that way, if you know, switch drivers, you know, somebody else is driving the vehicle, they can still pair their phone. It's not going to overwrite yours. But if you're both in the vehicle at the same time with both your phones, then one's going to be priority over the other. Okay, so there's a quick rundown of the touchscreen here. It looks fantastic. You also have, you know, of course, your temperatures for your set, your outside temperature, and then your clock here at the top center. And we can adjust the clock just by pushing the clock. It's actually adjusted. You can adjust it manually, or you can have the GPS sync with the GPS. So that way it solves your problem as far as having to change the clock out. Figure out how to change the clock every year. It just automatically does it if you have it linked with the GPS. Okay, so you have a traditional volume tuned through the stations. You can always turn the screen off if you want to. You just touch the screen to turn it back on. Then you have a mute button for, you know, quickly muting the audio system. 4-way flashers are here. Your fan speed is here. Automatic for your climate control, and your you can turn off, or you can just simply go to automatic. Your temperatures are controlled here. It's a little bit of redundancy as far as buttons for your climate control, but you know, it really makes it easy to go ahead and adjust the fan speed. And you notice it gives you a little icon right there as you're doing it. Same thing when you start adjusting the temperature, it's going to highlight, you know, what you're doing on the screen there. Okay, your parking sensors, you can turn those off. That electronic stop-start feature you could turn off here. Eco mode you could turn off, sport mode you could turn on, and then your traction control you could turn off. Alright, so down here is a little storage space, but also has 2 USB and auxiliary inputs and a 12-volt power supply. Little felt-lined portion right here to put some stuff. So like say if you plug in your phone into here, you can set your phone in here while you're accessing Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So there's your cup holders, and they're illuminated around the outside, which is pretty neat. You put a bottle of water in there, and it looks awesome. Hopefully I'll be able to do a night video soon. Okay, so here's your shifter, and really easy to use. Go ahead and put it in reverse. Backup camera with the articulated lines right here. Activate, but also your backup sensors, your parking sensors activate, and you have a little visual representation right here. So let's go ahead and back up a little bit. Now I actually put my tripod here, so let's turn the wheel a little bit and let's aim right for it and back up towards it and see if we can get these sensors to start beeping at us. Alright, so it's starting to beep at us. And it's letting us know right here. Now it's going to tell us where the object is relative to the vehicle too. Now if you're backing up and you just need, you know for sure you need to get close to something, like backing up to a trailer or something like that, then you can always turn your parking sensors off if it's just beeping at you and, you know, just driving you crazy. Okay, so here's your shifter. So reverse, neutral, drive, and then you have a manual mode by pushing it over here, and you can use it like a ratchet shifter to cycle through the gears. And you'll know what gear you're in because it'll show right here on the screen while you're in manual mode. When you turn that off, you'll see it goes back into drive. Okay, so remember when I was changing the height of the vehicle and I was changing the sand and snow and all that stuff? Well, here's the controls I was using. We have the four-wheel drive low, downhill descent for off-road use only, and then we can make the selection snow, sand, automatic, mud, and rock. So this tells the vehicle what kind of terrain we're in and allows it to give us the best performance for that particular terrain. And then this is where we can adjust the suspension up and down when needed. And you can go all the way down to a parking mode. It's not actually going to drive that low, but it makes it easier to get in and out of the vehicle when you have it in that park mode. Alright, so here's your armrest, and it's a soft to the touch with the stitching here on the side, and it's pretty good size. I guess you could possibly share it with a passenger. It depends on how nice they are to you. But this opens up in two stages, so there's an upper and lower button under here. So we're going to push the upper button, and it reveals a little place to put tissues under there apparently, but also a felt line little pocket right here. And it has a little place for wires to go in and out of this compartment. And then the lower button, so it lifts up the entire thing. You notice now it's stuck to the bottom, and reveals the very large felt lined compartment. And there's actually a 12-volt power supply under here. It's kind of hard to see with the camera, but it's a power supply that has a little battery on it, and that one's actually paired directly, connected directly to the battery, so you don't have to have the engine started or anything for it to be on. The accessories and everything can be turned off and it will still work. And there's a little place for wires to go in and out of this compartment as well. Okay, so the rear view mirror, it's an auto dim rear view mirror, and it has the emergency buttons. It's roadside assistance button here, so you can talk to the roadside assistance people through Chrysler if you want to, if you need that capability or that convenience feature, I guess you could say. And let me go ahead, actually all these, the side mirrors are auto dim too, so let me put my finger over the light sensor back here so we can see it actually dimming. Starts to dim a little bit, kind of has like this greenish color. And here's the side mirrors. There's one of them there, auto dimming, and there's the one on that side. Give you an idea of what it looks like when it auto dims. Then when I take my finger off the sensor, it goes back to its normal brightness. You could turn that feature on and off right here. Alright, so the place to put your shades with a like a foam insert there to protect them. You have tap lights here and here, and you have a little smaller reading light. So this is more of a floodlight. There's a little reading light. Same thing on that side. Your HomeLink garage door opener controls here. These buttons are for your sunroof, which we'll get to in just a second. Your visors have mirrors and lights in them. They also have the ability to extend out when you need to for the side. Okay, so let's look at this huge sunroof. Look at that. So it actually has a shade that covers up 100% of the light, but I already have that back, so we'll show you that in a second. Let's just go ahead and vent it up here in the front. The back portion is fixed, the front glass is the only thing that moves. So we can vent it, or we can open it up, and it slides back like so. So it doesn't go above the vehicle, it stays in that track and goes back. Push it again, puts it back right there. So that's as far as it goes. That's pretty large opening there. Let's go ahead and close it up. And let's close the shade. And I like the way the shade covers up 100% of the light. There's no, sometimes you just don't want the light shining on you, and this gives you that capability. It's just like a normal headliner now, without any light shining through the top. All right, so let's look at the visibility in the back. can see the headrests kind of line up with the pillars back there, and you have lots of glass, rear glass in there on the sides of the seat. So really adequate. Now it depends, of course, on your passengers and how big their hairdo is and all that stuff, but you should be able to see pretty good out of this vehicle, especially with all the technology helping you out with the camera system, the blind spot monitor, the parking sensor, all that stuff. Alright, so before we go, let me show you the window sticker. So you can see it's a 2018 model. Some people question that when I put a new model out and it looks similar to the previous models. They're like, hey, that's not a 2018, that's a 2017. Well, here you go, there's the proof right there, 2018. And you can use the pause button to kind of read all the details if you want to. But here it is. Now you notice the exterior features are right there, and then you have the optional equipment. Now there's not a lot of optional equipment because there's so much standard on the Overland, but the Ivory Trico is one of those options. All right, there you have it. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Vann Underwood, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in Whiteville, North Carolina, for allowing me to show off another awesome vehicle, and this one is awesome. So thanks for watching.